Hey friends, welcome to the Ella Valley, the early 10th century. David, the young shepherd boy, has just killed the giant Goliath, larger than life enemy figure who dares to deprecate and hurl insults at the armies of Israel. Just imagine the miracle that has just taken place. It's not just a strategy that David used of fighting like a gorilla with a sling, but God is clearly involved. As we can see from God's anointing of David even before this scene took place, God is working through this figure. And one of the uniquenesses of David is his ability to spiritually imagine God and not simply fight on mundane, political, expedient, pragmatic terms. That's one of the big differences that we'll see in 1 Samuel, is that Saul is so pragmatic, so narrowed and boxed in by the rules of politics and economics that he doesn't have the spiritual and theological imagination that David is able to have. You can see the theocentric orientation of David when he comes to the camp, the battle camp of Israel here in the Ella Valley. Goliath has been deriding and insulting and deprecating the armies of Israel, and the Israelite armies are offended, all the soldiers are offended that this enemy has been insulting them as a nation and as a people. But what David sees, and what they don't mention, neither Goliath on the one side or the armies of Israel on the other, is that the true insult is against God and God's ability to work even with a young shepherd boy, or to rescue Israel using any means that we may not even have thought of. So these claims of defying Israel and the ranks of Israel occur again and again in the text. But it's David who's set apart by this theocentric understanding in chapter 17, verse 26, verse 36, verse 45. And this is one of the big questions in 1 Samuel. What is so different about David from Saul? They make many of the similar mistakes. David is far from perfect. He doesn't mind asking the soldiers, the comrades of his brothers that he's come to visit, what the reward is for the person who kills Goliath. But the central thing is that he has the theological vision and theological imagination to conceive that he can work outside of normal military structures. And this just bewilders Saul and his general Abner. Source critics will probably rightly tell you that the reason at the end of the story that Saul is only first wondering who David is, when according to the other source behind the composition, Saul has already welcomed David into the court and had him play music for him to soothe his spirit. On a holistic canonical level, Saul is questioning, who is this and where is this coming from? That he wasn't able to wear this heavy armor and fight in conventional normal terms. But David has a new imagination, a new theocentric vision, a new refusal to work with pragmatic structures instead of working from a perspective of God's strange new world that is opening up before him.